It's wild card weekend, and the primetime matchup on Sunday has the 2 seed Patriots hosting the 7 seed Chargers. Let's get to the crossover.
You are Locked On NFL Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's happening? I am your host, Nick Cattles of Locked On Patriots, along with the co-host of Locked On Chargers, David Droegemeier, for a post-season crossover. And of course, this is the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network, your team every day. On today's show, David and I will break down the keys to victory for each side. Before then, we'll tell you which matchups should have your most attention on Sunday night. But first, we take a look at the biggest story from each side ahead of this matchup. Crossover Thursday is presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Okay. It's time, David. It is time. David Droegemeier, what's the biggest story in LA as we prepare for this one on Sunday night?
Yeah, I think it's probably pretty easy to figure out what the biggest story is for the Chargers. It has everything to do with Justin Herbert and can he exercise his playoff demons. Justin's currently 0-2 in the playoffs with obviously the last year, and his last time he was in was a 4-interception performance, and then the other one was his team giving up a 27-0 lead, and obviously leading to another big-time loss. And until he wins one, it's going to continue to be the biggest story for him. Even though the Chargers are going to be missing their Pro Bowl tackles, the pressure is on him, and it will be until that changes. So you also wonder, if he's going to be able to get that win and be able to go on a deep playoff run with the obvious issues on the offensive line. And it doesn't matter because, with quarterbacks, they get paid the most. They have the most responsibility. Therefore, whether they win or lose is put on them, fair or not.
Yeah, it's so true, and that's the pressure of being a quarterback, right, in the NFL. And it's pretty amazing watching outside looking in. Now, I used to do some national radio back in the day, so I've watched a decent amount of Herbert throughout his career. And Justin Herbert's such a talented guy, talented quarterback, just tremendous. But he has had some issues. And, I was shocked watching the last one against Houston. That was absolutely brutal. I just, kind of hard to explain how a guy so talented could have such kind of a meltdown in a playoff game. So I totally get that. And it kind of goes hand in hand with what the biggest story is for the Patriots when you look at this game coming up on Sunday night. And to me, David, is, how do the first timers perform? You got a quarterback in Justin Herbert, 2 playoff games. He hasn't played great. This will be Drake Maye's first playoff game. What does that do to the guy? And I know he's been talking to the media and he's trying to present himself as ready and capable and trying to understand what it's going to take to win an NFL playoff game. I have no doubt that Mike Vrabel will get Drake Maye and some of these other first timers. I have no doubt that Mike Vrabel will get those guys prepared. But a lot of crucial guys on this team, it's going to be their first shot. Not only Drake Maye, but Will Campbell protecting the blind side. Jared Wilson, rookie left guard, back at practice today, still with the red non-contact jersey. We'll see if he's back on Sunday night. Christian Gonzalez, this will be his first postseason game in the NFL. Shoot, you can even look at the kicker, and you can look at Andy Borregales and say, my goodness, what we just saw from the Baltimore Ravens, their rookie kicker Tyler Loop melting down last Sunday night, costing the Ravens a playoff shot in a playoff home game. So, I mean, and really John Harbaugh, his job. So you have a lot of these young guys, a lot of first timers dealing with more media, dealing with more noise. And as you know, David, and I know watching the Patriots in prior years, the margin of error is so much slimmer in the postseason. You just need one rookie, one first timer in the playoffs to mess up, and that could cost you the football game.
100%. I think what we saw last year with the Chargers and the Houston Texans was that the Texans zeroed in on every single little deficiency that the Chargers had and exploited it to the max. So the margin for error is very, very small. You have to play high-quality football, mistake-free. Of course, we'll get into that later on when we talk about our keys to victory for each side. I'm sure that's going to have something to do with it. But yeah, you got some coaches that have some experience. The Chargers have a couple more players that have some playoff experience, but this is also a big situation for Jim Harbaugh as well. You know, he wants to get his first playoff victory since returning to the NFL, where obviously his previous stint featured 3 NFC championship game performances, including a Super Bowl appearance against his brother. So he came back with one mission in mind, Nick, and it was to win a Super Bowl championship. It's the last thing that is on, the mantle that's missing. It has that empty spot for him, and if he gets it, that's the last thing he kind of needs to solidify what I already feel like is a Hall of Fame coaching career.
Yeah, I mean, you look at these two coaches, I think a lot of people in the football world would love to have either of these guys coaching their team going into a playoff game. Mike Vrabel took Tennessee to the AFC Championship game going back a few years ago. And we know, Jim Harbaugh almost got the job done against his brother a long time ago. But, you look at these first timers again, you look at these young guys, they've never been there before. Will they wilt? That kind of thing can snowball. Now, the Patriots do have a couple of guys, Milton Williams, Carlton Davis. Milton Williams won a Super Bowl with Philly last year. Yep. Carlton Davis made a deep run with the Detroit Lions. So they do have some guys in the room that have at least made some deep runs and even won a Super Bowl, but you just don't know. And we're talking about a primetime game, Sunday night, NBC TV, Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth on the call, everybody watching you. So it's going to be fascinating to see how this young football team deals with that and how Drake Maye looks. Obviously, he's the biggest one that you look at. If he goes out there and he looks nervous, and, there have been times every once in a while where he can get a little jittery, he'll calm down, he'll figure it out. But, you do wonder in the back of your mind, is this the kind of first quarter where Drake Maye is airballing the football into the 5th row and you're going, this might take 2 or 3 series before he figures it out. Justin Herbert, at least, he hasn't been great in the playoffs, but he's been there. So you would think he'd be calm, cool, and collected, at least somewhat on Sunday night.
Yeah, for sure. And I just kind of want to dispel some rumors out there about Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert could have played in the last game. It was all about getting him as healthy as possible, along with several other key starters on both sides of the ball. It wasn't just Justin. Khalil Mack didn't play. Derwin James didn't play. Deion Henley, their star linebacker, didn't play. Several of their offensive starters also didn't play. But this was all in an effort to try to get whoever they were playing, not necessarily the Patriots in particular, but whoever it was, they wanted to give him the most amount of rest possible to get that hand as healthy as he possibly could get it. And even with the hand injury, he went 3-1. So it wasn't like it was a huge impediment. It was something that he was able to work around. He even was able to take snaps under center. So I don't feel like the hand injury is going to inhibit the game plan offensively whatsoever.
Yeah, I happen to have Justin Herbert on my fantasy team this year. I know the fantasy football thing, so I did have a keen interest on that injury. I did have a keen interest on the offensive line, and I did watch the Chargers a decent amount this year. But yeah, I mean, I did not look at what they decided to do last weekend as a shot to the Patriots. I don't think they were trying to set up a Patriots matchup. And if you look at other teams, I mean, the Eagles did the same thing. They rested guys.
Yeah.
And that's just really a team philosophy and how you're going to handle the final week of the season when it's not going to significantly impact you. Now, you could talk about the Eagles who had the 2 seed up for grabs. That was a more interesting decision to me. But for the Chargers, they knew, right? They knew that they could only.
They were playing on the road no matter what.
So, do the smart thing. And your quarterback who's dealing with some stuff, your offensive line dealing with a lot of things, even the guys that are available dealing with some things, get healthy, give yourself the best shot when you get to the playoffs. That's how I looked at it. I did not think, I know some people try to carry that narrative, as they say. I wasn't buying it. All right, we'll have our marquee matchups next as we continue with this postseason crossover episode of Locked On Patriots and Locked On Chargers. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Let's be real. Managing your finances can feel overwhelming between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where all your money actually goes each month. It's easy to feel like you're losing control. And who has time to track every transaction or hunt down hidden fees? That's where Rocket Money comes in, the personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. You'll be shocked when Rocket Money shows you were paying for a subscription you completely forgot about. It'll save you money. Rocket Money even consolidates your checking, savings, loans, and investments into a single dashboard so you get a clear view of your entire financial picture. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new: boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour. Every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern, a little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel. And of course, FanDuel is the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level. Go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today. Get Locked On Patriots or Locked On Chargers with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month. Or, special little deal, $50 on the year. Go to lockedonpatriots.supercast.com or lockedonchargers.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. And don't forget, as you watch this podcast, as you listen to us, if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to click that thumbs up. Give us the like. We always appreciate it. Don't forget to throw your comments in. We want your prediction for this game. I'm sure plenty of Chargers fans will pick the Chargers. I'm sure plenty of Patriots fans will pick the Patriots. We know how that goes, but throw the comments in. That helps us as well. And don't forget to subscribe. All right. So here we are getting ready. Wild card Sunday night. Again, prime time. Very interesting game. First time Drake Maye out there in the playoffs. Justin Herbert trying to get the playoff monkey off his back. David Droegemeier with me from Locked On Chargers. Let's look at some of these marquee matchups, David. Your number one marquee matchup for Sunday night.
Yeah, so I watched a ton of Patriots games in preparation for this wild card game, and one of the things that was very clear was that the Patriots love using their running backs in the passing game. Very, very much so. It's a huge point of emphasis. They're trying to get the ball to Ramondre Stevenson and to Travion Henderson, and they're running wide receiver type routes. So the big matchup I'm going to be looking at is the Chargers linebackers, Deion Henley, Denzel Perriman, Troy Dye versus the Patriots running backs. The Patriots have obviously two fantastic running backs, and running backs are averaging 3 catches and 25 yards this year versus Los Angeles. So the Chargers have done a very good job of trying to limit that, and it is very clear that Henderson and Stevenson are a big catalyst for this Patriots offense, who has combined for 390 total yards in the last 2 games. The offense definitely funnels through them, and if the Chargers can't stop them or limit them, it's going to be a long game, and it's hard to see them winning if they don't.
Yeah, part of me wonders if the Patriots are kind of keeping Travion Henderson and some of the stuff he can do as a receiver in their back pocket for the playoffs. It might be that. It also just might be they don't want to put too much on his plate, and maybe he'll be even a bigger factor in 2026's season as a receiver. But there's no doubt he can catch the football. He can do things as a receiver. Ramondre Stevenson's terrific. I think it's one of the things that's overlooked about his game. And he's a good route runner. He ran the sluggo last week for the touchdown.
Yeah,
he gets Tyrell Dotson, the linebacker, against him on the outside, and he just immediately cooks him off the line of scrimmage. So, he does have that ability. And you're right. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson, especially the last 4 to 5 weeks, I mean, really have been that thunder and lightning duo that Patriots fans were hoping that they would get when they drafted Travion Henderson as a top 40 pick back in April 25. I'm looking at the first matchup here as a weakness versus a weakness. And I'm looking at the New England pass rush, the defensive edges against the tackles of the Chargers. And we know the Chargers have the excuses, and their excuses versus reasons. I actually would say they're more reasons. When you lose 2 of the best tackles in all of football due to injury, there's not a lot of teams that are going to be able to survive that, okay? Tackle play is rough in the NFL to begin with. When you're going to the backups, it gets even rougher. So you lose Joe Alt, you lose Rashawn Slater before the season even kicks off. So that is no doubt a weakness, obviously. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it going into this game. Harold Landry sat the last 2 weeks. The last time he played was against Baltimore. He played 30 snaps. He has not been the same guy since he got injured after the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. He had a really, really significant impact in the first month of the season, getting to the quarterback, stopping the run. Caleb Chason was great the first couple months, but he's played a ton of snaps. I think he's getting a little bit tired, has not been the same guy the past month or two. Landry should be back on Sunday night. You hope that the couple of weeks gives him a boost and he has a little bit more juice. But, man, the Patriots defensive ends, their edge play, they've got to create some negative plays. They've got to heat up Justin Herbert, make him feel uncomfortable. If they can't get that pressure, then it's going to be a tougher game for New England's defense. So Harold Landry, Caleb Chason against whoever plays tackle, whoever ends up playing tackle on Sunday night for the Chargers. All right, matchup number 2 for you.
Yeah, the second matchup for me also has to do with the, Patriots defensive line versus the Chargers offensive line, but it's the Patriots interior defensive line versus the Chargers interior offensive line. The bad news is that the Chargers have to go up against Milton Williams, who was just activated off of IR. And, the Pats get one of their best interior pass rushers back. Him and Christian Barmore against the struggling Chargers interior will likely have a big impact on this game for sure. Those two alone have accounted for 86 pressures, and the Chargers starting interior has allowed 94 pressures so far this year. So Justin's been the most hit quarterback in the history of the stat being recorded by True Media, which dates back to 2000. And they have the worst offensive line in pass block win rate and run block win rate in the NFL by a mile. There are no other playoff teams that are anywhere close. They have one of the worst offensive lines in the history of football, which makes what Justin Herbert has been able to do that much more impressive. For him to get hit as many times as he has and to be able to withstand it, keep getting up, continuing to extend plays and make plays, that's the reason why Justin Herbert and the Chargers have a chance in every single game that they play.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing with the offensive line, as you've mentioned, the constant pressure he's been under throughout this season, and he's been able to keep his cool. He's been able to win football games. Says a lot about him as a leader, says a lot about him as a quarterback. My second matchup is actually a coaching matchup. I'm looking at Josh McDaniels versus Jesse Minter. This is a very fascinating, compelling matchup for me, David. I mean, can Josh McDaniels make Drake Maye comfortable? Jesse Minter will disguise a lot of things pre-post snap, right? He'll load things up on third down. He'll do what he's got to do effectively to get to the quarterback. And especially over the past 3-4 weeks, you've seen the Chargers get to the quarterback, cause some trouble. So can Josh McDaniels combat that with, certain protections? Can he get those protections figured out? I'm sure we'll see some chips. We'll see some misdirection. We'll see some motion before the snap as well. Can Josh McDaniels do enough? And look, Drake Maye has pretty much all the responsibility at the line of scrimmage, but can Josh McDaniels get him set? And I'm not just talking about on Sunday night. I'm talking about the week of preparation. Can he get him set for what Jesse Minter is going to throw at him? I have a ton of respect for Jesse Minter. I think he's one of the best defensive coordinators in football. This Chargers defense is obviously no joke. So if Josh McDaniels has a bad night at the office or doesn't get Drake Maye prepared enough in the right way, it could be a very, very difficult night for Drake Maye. It could be a very difficult beginning of the game for Drake Maye. So, Minter, I think Jesse Minter, he schemes free rushers often, and it's going to be a chess match. Should be a fun one. Your final matchup, David.
Yeah, I think for me, it's also going to be just the Chargers wide receivers against the Patriots defensive backs, with Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis. Can Quentin Johnston, can Ladd McConkey get out there, get open, and in the face of a pass rush that doesn't create as much and doesn't get after the passer as much? Can Justin Herbert lock in and find his playmakers in space? That's going to be a big, big matchup in this one.
I'll drill down even more on that, and I'll look at Keenan Allen on third down, because that dude cooks on third down. can the Patriots get the Chargers off the field? And whether it's Carlton Davis or Christian Gonzalez, I would imagine Marcus Jones will have a lot of Ladd McConkey. But you look at those two outside corners, what they'll do against Keenan Allen on third down, who's highly productive in those situations. Can the Patriots limit those long drives? You don't want the Chargers sustaining drives. The Patriots are 12th in third down defense this season, but they've been 21st over the last 3 games. So they've had a little bit of a drop there. They've got to get Justin Herbert off the field. And of course, their secret sauce has been keeping teams between the 20s, because when you get to the red zone, the Patriots defense has had a horrible time of it for the most part. So you just can't allow Keenan Allen to convert 2-3 third downs on Sunday night. So just drill down a little bit more specifically about that cornerback wide receiver matchup between the Chargers and the Patriots. All right, David and I will give you our keys to victory next on today's crossover episode of Locked On Patriots and Locked On Chargers. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey guys, the draft order is set, and so many teams are looking for their franchise QB. Ever wish to become a pro quarterback getting drafted by the Pats? Well, now you can. There's a mobile game just for you called Ultimate QB Football Legend. In this game, you step into the cleats of a number 1 draft pick quarterback, and it's your job to help turn a failing franchise into a dynasty. This is the number 1 QB career mode game on mobile app stores, and it introduces the most realistic environment with full career control. Sign contracts, train and upgrade yourself, give input to your GM on roster moves. You'll deal with the ups and downs of a QB career, from rookie nerves to playoff drama. Ultimate QB is totally free to play, has no ads, and works 100% offline. Just head over to ultimate-qb.com. That's ultimate-qb.com, or search for Ultimate QB in your app store. And we've got something special just for you guys. Use the promo code LOCKEDON, all caps, in the game store to get a free boost at the start of your career. Ultimate QB, football legend, QB1, it's your legacy. David Droegemeier, Locked On Chargers, that's who he is. Nick Cattles, Locked On Patriots, that's who I am. We appreciate every single one of you as we get ready for the playoffs. Nothing better than the NFL playoffs. All right, David, we've talked about what we've had to talk about, but of course, the ultimate is here now. The 3 keys to victory. I'm not going to give my prediction. David is not going to give his prediction. You're going to have to wait until Friday's episode for that, okay, people? But, David, what are your keys to victory in Sunday night's wild card game for the LA Chargers?
Well, you foreshadowed it a little bit in the ending of the last segment, and it is very much the battle of the red zone. If the Chargers are going to win this game, they have to cash in when they get close. Chargers are ranked 29th in scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Patriots offense has been very good at it, but they've been kind of middle of the pack as far as offensively, 57% of the time in the red zone, ranking 17th. The Pats may move the ball, but if the Chargers can force some field goals, then they'll have a chance. The Chargers' red zone defense, though, is 4th in the NFL in allowing touchdowns. So they've been very, very good at it. And the Patriots have the 3rd worst red zone defense in the NFL when we're talking about allowing touchdowns. So it is very much, can the Chargers get more creative in the red zone and punch it in and make it count?
Yeah, the red zone defense has been a struggle bus for the Patriots all year long. Really, the saving grace, as I mentioned, is they don't let teams get to the red zone very often, thankfully, because if they did, they'd be giving up 100 points a week. My first key to victory here is make the Chargers one-dimensional. Force Justin Herbert to carry that football team. I think that Jim Harbaugh wants to go into Sunday night, and I would imagine he wants to run the ball 25, 30, 35 times. Marion Hampton did not practice on Wednesday. We're recording this late on Wednesday night. His ankle situation. Is he going to play? I don't know. But you want to make LA one-dimensional because it's just kind of logical, right? Common sense. The more pass pro reps that you force the offensive line to have on Sunday night, the better for you, because the offensive line doesn't do a great job of protecting the quarterback. Now, of course, Justin Herbert does a fantastic job of extending plays off platform, but you've got to make them one-dimensional. And if you look at Justin Herbert's record this season, 30 or more attempts, he's 4-3. When he throws the football under 30 times, he's 7-2. So they're much more effective when you don't force them to throw 35, 40 times, right? So you got to make them one-dimensional. And I also wonder, look, it's going to be a cold night in January in the Northeast. Will that impact things as well? So make the Chargers one-dimensional and see how they react to that. Your second key to victory.
Yeah, I'm not so concerned with the weather. The Chargers had to play the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City in much colder conditions than it's slated to be on Sunday, and they went and clearly out-physicaled them. They beat them up the entire football game and won that game. So, and it's Jim Harbaugh, right? Jim Harbaugh is from Michigan. He understands the elements. He's going to have this team ready to play. For me, it's take care of the football. The Chargers have to play a clean game to win this one. They turned the ball over 4 times against the Texans. The Chargers gave the ball away in 14 of their 17 games this season and turned it over multiple times in 6 games. That just can't happen this week. The Patriots have forced 5 turnovers over the last 3 games. Chargers defense thrives off of takeaways, and the Patriots have turned it over in all 3 of their losses. The Patriots have turned the ball over 7 times in their 3 losses and 9 times in their other 14 games. So if you can get the ball back from Drake Maye and take it away from him, they are much more likely to lose the football game.
Yeah, I mean, the Pittsburgh game was a stink sandwich. 5 turnovers in that game. It just absolutely brutal to watch. I'll also jump in with turnovers quickly here. I'll jump to, which was my third key to victory technically. But look, LA is tied. You just mentioned the Chargers tied for 7th in takeaways with 23. The Patriots only 16 giveaways. They do a pretty good job of taking care of the football. It's a huge point of emphasis for Mike Vrabel. Honestly, it should be a huge point of emphasis for every coach in football. Yeah. But when you look at these 2 teams, the Chargers are a +2 in turnover differential for the year. The Patriots are a +3. So overall, both these teams have done a good job of either taking it away or taking care of it, whichever way you want to look at it. So I do think, turnovers are going to be gigantic on Sunday night. All right, your final key to victory, David.
Yeah, quickly, it's just the Chargers have to get off to a fast start. I mean, the Chargers aren't really well equipped to play from behind. Outside of the Cowboys game, the Chargers really struggled to start fast offensively, and if they get behind, it will help the Patriots pass rush. So Greg Roman can't afford to have a slow start. Defensively, the first 2 drives against the Texans, they allowed 14 points. In the game before that, the Cowboys scored 17 on their first 3 drives. And the Chargers did an excellent job of making adjustments after those first few drives, but this is a team that is much, much better when they have a lead and they can play to their strengths, which is use their physicality to beat down their opponent and take their will away.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's actually my final key to victory is who imposes their physicality and who will impose their will more on the other team. I mean, Mike Vrabel right away this week, talking to the media about, what stands out about the Chargers, he immediately brought up their size and their physicality. He knows, he understands, right? So who's going to be the more physical football team? Early down offense, critical. Who's going to get that push at the line of scrimmage? The Patriots, they've done a great job with heavy personnel in the run game with 6 offensive linemen. They've gone with 6 O-lineman sets more often as the year's gone on. And Taylor Kyles from CLNS in New England, he posted that when using an extra lineman since week 11, Patriots running backs have averaged nearly twice as many yards per carry and 3 times as many yards before contact. They've scored 9 of their 10 touchdowns with 6 offensive linemen out there. So can they do that against the Chargers? Can they show that physicality, use that extra offensive lineman? Thayer Munford lined up as a fullback a couple times last week as a 6th offensive lineman, just threw him back there. So can they do that? Can they do that? Will the Chargers let them do that? It'll be a fascinating question to see how it all unfolds on Sunday night. All right, that wraps up this postseason crossover edition of Locked On Patriots and Locked On Chargers. Thank you for making us your first listen and for being an everydayer. Don't forget to throw a comment in on the YouTube channel. Hit that like button and subscribe. And if you're looking for a gift for someone, make it easy. Check out the Everydayer Club. Ad-free episodes of this show, exclusive Discord server access, and more. Subs can be gifted through lockedonpatriots.supercast.com or lockedonchargers.supercast.com. For David Droegemeier, I am Nick Cattles, Locked On Chargers, Locked On Patriots. Have a great day, and we will see you on Friday for our deep dive preview.